You're watching a Highwire Media podcast. YouTube is a funny place. Whether it's through creating engaging educational content, you're welcome, playing video games, or vlogging, anyone can become well known. And that's also its biggest downside. Anyone can become that person with a million sub plaque. And that means some pretty terrible people have become YouTubers over the years. And that's what we're looking at in today's video. But before we do, a quick disclaimer. All the information you're about to hear can be found through publicly available sources. We're also sticking to legal judgments and official charges for this one. Some YouTubers, they are awful people and have done some highly questionable things, but nothing that ended up on a judge's desk. This isn't a tea channel, this is about the facts, no doubt. One of the biggest YouTube scandals in recent memory involved Michael and Heather Martin, YouTubers who ran the Daddy05 and Family05 YouTube channels, respectively. They were a mainstay of the YouTube Kids content boom back in the late 2010s, when concerns started to be raised around the family's treatment of their children. Often the parents would prank their kids in the videos, although these pranks were mean-spirited to put it lightly. They included scolding and screaming at them, falsely accusing them of things until they cried, telling their kids to slap each other in the face, breaking their toys, and even pushing them into furniture. This led to controversy, and controversy led to legal trouble, as well as the takedown of multiple channels. Both parents were sentenced to 5 years probation for child neglect in September of 2017. As a result, they lost custody of the two kids who were reunited with their mother, a previous partner of Michael's, in the immediate aftermath. But their presence on YouTube is still felt to this day. A relatively active channel called the Martin Family still gets views, where the family vlogs its life, including regular appearances from the parents. And they even still pull pranks on each other. The description of the channel states it's now run by the remaining family sons, and that their parents were wrongfully accused of things they didn't do. They have even made one more addition to the family in the years since. It's a rare example of a YouTube controversy, even one with illegal consequences, where the alleged perpetrators return to the internet and even still have a loyal following after the fact. Alright, let's take a quick pause, because this is actually important. These days, everything you do online is being tracked. Your searches, your location, your viewing habits, especially when you're on public Wi-Fi at airports, coffee shops, hotels, you name it. That's where Fastest VPN comes in. Fastest VPN protects your connection with military-grade 256-bit encryption and a strict no logs policy, meaning your data stays private. Period. No selling your information, no hidden tracking, just real protection. Speed matters too, and this is where Fastest VPN really stands out. With high-speed servers in over 50 locations worldwide, you can stream, upload, game, and browse without lag or buffering. Whether you're watching content, working remotely, or uploading videos, your connection stays fast and stable. Fastest VPN also includes built-in features like a kill switch, ad and malware blocking, and split tunneling, so you can choose what goes through the VPN and what doesn't. And yes, you can use up to 10 devices at the same time on one account. Phone, laptop, tablet, smart TV, all covered. And here's the deal that sets them apart. Fastest VPN offers a lifetime plan. One payment, no monthly fees, no yearly renewals, just long-term online security for less than what most VPNs charge for a single year. That's right, $35, one payment for one lifetime protection. So if you care about your privacy, your speed, and not getting ripped off, this one's a no-brainer. Click the link in the description today and grab Fastest VPN and take back control of your online life. Unfortunately, one of the biggest problems YouTube has continued to face is that of parasocial relationships between creators and their fans. Except for you guys watching, we're friends. And sadly, some have taken advantage of this for truly evil purposes, using their platform and fame to groom their young followers. Perhaps one of the biggest examples of this was Marcus Wilton, otherwise known as Lion Maker Studios. Wilton was a Belgium-based Minecraft YouTuber who had an audience of around 600,000 subscribers back in the mid-2010s. He would use his audience and influence to talk to his underage fans through Skype, where, according to Vice, the mask would sometimes slip and details of Wilton's personal issues and emotional tirades occasionally would come out. as would him being generally a bit of a creep. But in one instance, it was all made very public. In late 2015, several tweets would be made from Wilton's account, confessing to having a relationship with an underage person. He was around a decade older than her. His account also posted several indecent images of that person. The tweets were then deleted, but the damage was done. Wilton claimed he was hacked at the time, but after the curtain was pulled back and several more victims came forward, he was wiped off the face of the internet. In 2017, a BuzzFeed report states that he was arrested by Belgian police and charged with various horrific crimes. For this, he spent 10 months in a Belgian prison and later spent time in a psychiatric hospital. He tried to reinstate his channels and rekindle his fame in 2017, but by 2020, his channels were all banned for good. And let's hope it stays that way. Another case of content creator crime rocked the Los Angeles YouTube scene back in 2010, when the death of well-known YouTuber Corey Lambert was announced on local news. The story that emerged would turn out to be just as tragic when it was revealed he was killed by friends. Daniel Silva was a YouTuber, Instagram influencer, and tattoo artist who had previously been on the TV show Ink Master. Him and Lambert were close friends and had gotten together to celebrate Corey's 25th birthday in an LA suburb. But when it came time to end the night, both had been drinking. However, rather than get a cab, Silva sat behind the wheel of a McLaren 600 LT to take them home. Later, Silva lost control of the supercar, which can go from 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds and can top out at over 200 miles an hour. The LAPD report stated that the car left the road, hit a stop sign, and then a tree while traveling at high speed. Silva, who had to be stopped from fleeing the scene by citizens who had seen the crash, was found to have alcohol in his system, and his friend was pronounced dead. He was initially charged with murder before entering a plea agreement of gross vehicular manslaughter, resulting in 364 days in jail, a suspended sentence of 4 years, 250 hours of community service, and 5 years probation. Silva has shown a lot of remorse in the aftermath of his friend's death, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is just a dark reminder of why you don't drink and drive. Samantha Walford is a Texan mother of 5, was a small-time YouTuber who often discussed her passions, personal life, and the struggles of having a family of 7 to feed on the internet. And then, in 2015, she threw it all away in a brazen and callous act of violence, where she attempted to play the victim. She was married at the time to Ernie Ibarra Jr., but all was not well at home. In 2014, Ibarra had been arrested for allegedly attacking Walford. So when Jonathan Carl Sanford, a man that Walford had met the following year, offered to take Ibarra out of the picture for his alleged abuse, they hatched a plan. Walford, Sanford, and several other accomplices they recruited originally planned to plant meth on Ibarra and have him arrested. But at some point, the plan evolved into murder. The group staged a home invasion, kidnapping Ibarra and beating him before taking him to a remote location and shooting him in the back of the head. Walford told police she was tied up before making her way to her phone to call for help. But when authorities found inconsistencies with her story and texts on her phone that implicated her, she was arrested for her part in the murder. Her accomplices went on trial and received 50-year sentences for their part in the murder, and one got a 93-year sentence. But the longest stretch was reserved for Walford herself. In 2017, she got 99 years on top of a consecutive 50-year sentence for the kidnapping. She just wanted to be famous on the internet, and well, she got her wish. Sadly, there are many stories of YouTubers grooming their fans online, and one of the most harrowing cases was perpetrated by someone who looked nothing like the monster he truly was. Austin Jones was a musical YouTuber from Illinois. He regularly produced covers of chart-topping pop music for his audience of loyal fans, which mostly consisted of young girls. But it soon became clear that underneath his boy band exterior and good singing voice was a depraved serial predator. It was found that Jones had been using his fame to solicit explicit images and videos of his underage fans, including ones as young as 14. It was reported that Jones's manipulation ran deep, as in 2016, he posted a video on his now-deleted channel where he apologized for asking his fans to send him explicit videos of them dancing. In one instance, he referred to this as a tryout and a modeling opportunity. clearly leveraging his fame in the interaction. Another interaction asserted that Jones would talk to victims about proving that they were his biggest fans. BBC News reported that he attempted this through Facebook on around 30 occasions. He was arrested in 2017, where he waived his Miranda rights and pled guilty to some very dark crimes. He was then released on a $100,000 bond. And in 2019, he was sentenced to 10 years in prison. Love may be blind, but it's also incredibly dumb. And that fact can be proven by an incident where a young pair of parents trying to create a viral stunt turned tragically fatal. In 2017, the channel La Mona Lisa was owned by Mona Lisa Perez and her boyfriend Pedro Ruiz. The two young lovers, just 19 and 22 at the time, lived in Norman County, Minnesota. They spent a lot of their videos pulling pranks and doing various stunts. According to CNN, Ruiz came up with the idea for a video that was sure to go viral. Perez's tweet just before the incident morbidly predicted the events to come, writing, "Me and Pedro are probably going to shoot one of the most dangerous videos ever. His idea, not mine." The story goes that Ruiz convinced Perez to shoot him in the chest with a handgun with nothing to protect him but a book. Ruiz believed that the book, a 1.5-inch thick hardback encyclopedia, would stop the bullet from 30 centimeters away. It did not. In truth, he had no chance. The firearm in question was a .50 caliber Desert Eagle handgun. Even a quick Google search will show you penetration tests done online with the Desert Eagle blasting through 20 sheets of half-inch sheetrock on average. Even an entire library might not have stopped this idiotic stunt from turning deadly. After the bullet pierced the book and killed Ruiz, Perez called 911, but it was too late. She pled guilty in 2018 to second-degree manslaughter, serving a 6-month sentence mixed between house arrest and prison time. To make matters worse, it was not just the couple's lives who were affected. Not only was Perez 7 months pregnant at the time, but the couple's 3-year-old daughter also witnessed it live. It goes to show how tragedy can rip a family apart when chasing clout on the internet. If they had read the encyclopedia instead of using it for target practice, Ruiz might still be alive today. The supercar channel known as Gas Kings always had a pretty controversial place in the automotive YouTube world. But the entire industry was shocked when the owners of their channel were found guilty of running a UK-based scam to defraud vulnerable people out of their pensions. In 2018, Akindale Locke and his business partner Ray King were found guilty on multiple counts of fraud by false representation. Locke was also found guilty of money laundering. Locke and King set up a website called Successful Pensions to attract people looking to liberate their pensions early. According to the bogus firm, up to half their pension would be paid out to those claiming, and the other half would be invested in an eco-friendly occupational pension scheme. Those who took part were encouraged to lie to their original pension providers, claiming they were employees of Locke's business, which would stop them paying a hefty tax burden on a large lump sum for their early withdrawal. When people claim their pensions early in the UK, it's usually due to financial issues. This scheme was designed to prey on vulnerable people who needed the money. But the other half wasn't invested in businesses planting trees. It was spent by King and Locke on a playboy lifestyle of supercars, gambling, and luxury holidays. Through this fraud, they managed to steal almost £1 million from 16 people, and it was a pretty elaborate scheme. Hundreds of documents were created to dupe both the victims and the companies they liaised with into thinking they were legitimate, all while the cash was washed through offshore accounts. As the mastermind of the scam, Locke was sentenced to 5 years in prison in 2018, while King, whose main role was to sell the fraud to the victims via phone, received only 3 years. So both of them are back on the street. It's one thing to be a YouTuber who is accused of murder. It's another entirely to fake an alibi using YouTube itself. Stephen McCullough was a YouTuber who lived in the northern Irish city of Lisburn. But in December 2022, he took several modes of transport to the home of an acquaintance of his, 32-year-old Natalie McNally, before allegedly stabbing her to death. She was 15 weeks pregnant at the time. Police originally arrested McCullough, but he was dismissed as a suspect due to what appeared to be a solid alibi. A live stream recording of him playing Grand Theft Auto for 6 hours during the time of the killing. Except it wasn't live at all. Belfast Crown Court heard that after his devices were examined by police. They found the live stream was actually pre-recorded. They noted McCullough's inability to talk to his subscribers during the stream, blaming it on technical issues. McCullough admitted to this, but said it was because he was at home alone drinking. In February 2023, he was charged with McNally's murder. Further evidence came to light when CCTV footage showed him on the same day of the murder, wearing marigold gloves underneath his own gloves when boarding a bus, consistent with evidence found at the scene. His Google searches also heavily implicated him in the murders, as did him leaving his phone recording at the victim's family's house. Prosecutors believe this was an attempt to see if McNally's family suspected him. McCullough pleaded not guilty. So, where do you even start with Chris Chan? Deemed one of the most documented people on the entire internet, Chris Chan, born Christopher Weston Chandler, was a YouTuber and internet personality who gained a cult following for their cartoon drawings, as well as for being one of those personalities on the internet that people love to troll. Chandler had been a mainstay on the internet since 2007, when they burst onto the kindest place on the internet, 4chan, debuting their cartoon series Sonny Chew, a character mashup of Sonic the Hedgehog and Pokemon's Pikachu. The content creator lived with their elderly mother on state disability until 2021, when purported screenshots and recordings of a video call were leaked, where Chandler admitted to intimately assaulting their elderly parent, who suffered from dementia on numerous occasions. Familial relations are a Class 5 felony in Virginia, where Chandler lives, and in August of 2021, they were arrested. Chris Chan was reportedly released in March of 2023 when a judge dismissed the case and dropped the charges against them after Chandler's attorneys filed for an autism disorder deferral, which allows courts in Virginia to consider alternative sentencing for those with intellectual disabilities. Since the release, Chandler reportedly still lives in Virginia and is active on the internet. It remains one of the most shocking YouTuber crimes ever committed, and most of you probably haven't even heard of it. German Abraham Acosta was a Mexican YouTuber, company owner, motivational speaker, self-proclaimed entrepreneur. I mean, you know the type. But it turns out his own business pursuits were simply not bringing in enough pesos, so he turned to a violent alternative to get his money. In the Mexican state of Chihuahua, in February of 2018, a 33-year-old lawyer by the name of Afia Denise Medina Rodriguez was forced into an SUV by 6 men, including Acosta, as she was leaving work. Acosta rented the house where the victim was, then held for ransom, demanding $2 million in Bitcoin for her liberty. Rodriguez was freed in early March of 2018 following the interception of an encrypted message. A raid at a nearby house resulted in the arrest of Loera and 4 of his henchmen. The 5th would be arrested days later. Following this astonishingly brazen and violent crime, Loera and his crew were sentenced in March of 2020 to 50 years each behind bars. Not only that, but each member of the gang had to pay a fine of $25,600 in compensation to the victim. Kidnapping a lawyer? It's risky, bordering on stupid, but to do so as a young and well-known YouTube personality with a bright future ahead speaks to Acosta's sheer greed. Now he will spend most of the rest of his life behind bars, and for a violent crime like kidnapping, parole is by no means guaranteed, even for good behavior. In all likelihood, Acosta will serve a significant portion of his sentence. His YouTube channel had the tagline, "I think the mind is the only thing that limits us." But as it turns out, half a century in a Mexican prison might limit you as well. And that is just some of the darkest crimes committed by YouTubers. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Is there any that we should have included? Or is there anything I got wrong? Let me know. And of course, if you want to support the channel, you can buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/LarryMLease. Everything you give goes right back into this channel, helps us create even more content, expand on it, bring in new hosts, be able to pay them, and potentially take this show on the road. Your support can help make that happen. Of course, today's episode was sponsored by Fastest VPN. Check them out today using the link in the description. And with that, thank you so much for watching, listening. We will see you next time. Take care.